Hi, welcome to the Sunday Request Show, which today comes from comes from my garden shed in Somerset. So you'll have to bide with me with the sound of allotmenteers. Is that what they're called? Allotmenteers? Anyway, I'm not far from the allotment, so you'll hear mowers mowing, sowers sowing, growers growing. Sadly, helicopters whirring because there seems to be a helicopter which I think goes across to the cheese factory over the way there and hovers about for a bit. But besides that, it's a show dedicated to the Dulwich Folk Club, because tonight in the normal world I would have been performing at the Dulwich Folk Club, where Peter Grieg and all his lovely friends would be hosting me at the Lordship pub presumably in Dulwich. So a big shout out to them, and thanks for all your requests. It's great to at least be able to keep in touch in this way, and if I can't be there for real, but hopefully that will happen in the not too distant future. But meantime, I'll do some of your requests while also doing some requests from everybody else. And the song I want to start with is a song requested by Celia from Dulwich, and it's a song called "Counting My Footsteps to You," and which is a song I wrote. It's about dementia, Alzheimer's, those debilitating conditions that in my experience caused me to meet with people in a care home. I was asked to play some care homes locally, and I thought, well, why not? It'd be interesting, and so I did several concerts, and this one in Taunton I met. I'd finished a concert, and I sort of, I wasn't really sure what to do. There was an organisation who were handing out rattles and drums and sticks and things like that to a lot of people. I think there were upwards of 80-90 people in this big room. Mostly old people, certainly mostly older people. I don't think there was anybody younger than about 55, 60. Most of them way beyond that, and all of them suffering from some sort of condition that required permanent care. And they were being given these various noise-making devices, and I went into the room while this was going on, and they were being led and to bang, and it was terrifying. It was really terrifying. The only thing I could think of in comparison was when I once taught at a school down in South Molton, I think it was, and I was asked to go and do a workshop, songwriting workshop, and the racket that those kids made, bouncing off of those hard concrete walls, this piercing sound slapping off the walls, screaming at the tops of their voices. I remember walking into the classroom with the teacher, and it was just like I thought I was in danger. It was that bad. And I looked at the teacher, and she was completely calm, completely oblivious to this, and I said, well, doesn't this bother you? She said, what? So, sensitive soul that I am, I couldn't deal with this with a bunch of 80, 90-year-olds, and of course they weren't noisy at all, but this banging and crashing and everything was having its effect on not on just me but on them as well. And so I decided I would, I had no idea what I was going to do, to be honest. I knew I wasn't going to do It's a Long Way to Tipperary and trawl through Vera Lynn's back catalogue or Mrs. Mills or whatever. That wasn't for me, and I don't know those songs anyway. So I thought, well, I'll just do what I do. I'll introduce them to the characters, the folks in my songs, and let that be, see how it goes. So what's the worst thing that can happen? You know, it's the same with any gig, really. And they like you or they don't. You get something from it or they don't. You know, even if they get upset, at least it's, you know, something's happening. You're getting a reaction. I don't mean that. I don't mean to upset them. I mean if they get angry, or, you know, or I don't agree with you, or, you know, that kind of upset, not, you know, the other kind of upset. So I did, and I introduced them to, you know, Lizzie Loved a Highwayman, one of my songs, Dick Turpin. I introduced them to Elvis, to Johnny Ray, to Flora Sands, to the Titanic, and, you know, and so on and so on and so on. All these characters and places and events in my songs. And it seemed to work really well. They were engaged, they listened, one or two fell asleep, you know, but then I probably would have fallen asleep as well. And but, you know, all in all, I felt it went quite well. And I actually encored with Elvis, It's Me or Elvis. And at that point, I saw this woman sat kind of with her partner, it seemed, the two of them, and she was kind of like this pretty much all the way through the concert. And towards the end I played Elvis, It's Me or Elvis, and I got them to sing the chorus. It's me, I'm going to tell her everything. It's me or Elvis, your lover or the king. And I noticed she was singing along. She'd risen from this to this and was singing, and her partner was so affected by this. He was actually in tears, and he was holding tight onto her, and he was looking at me. He's like, you know, something happening. So afterwards I went and spoke to her, or spoke to both of them, and it turns out she was Italian, and she hadn't spoken English for what was it? She hadn't spoken at all for 2 years. And then for 3 years previous to that, she'd never spoken any English. She'd only spoken in Italian, regardless of the fact that she was actually very fluent in English and had lived here most of her life. So I thought, you know, now she's singing away, and she was kind of talking, not comfortably, but she was sort of muttering and answering, you know, making words, while her partner kind of described all this, her husband, I guess. And so I figured this was a major result. You know, this was something that it brought her out, the music brought her out of herself, or the memory of Elvis, or I don't know, whatever it was, you know, the sound of my voice, the sound of people singing, whatever, had a profoundly positive effect on her. And I was really, really pleased with that, and obviously her husband was, and I spoke to some nurses afterwards, and they said, well, it might last, it might not, you know, but the fact is, for today and for the immediate future, you know, you've brought some real, something really positive to their lives. You know, they can communicate now, they can talk to each other. You know, she hadn't even spoken to her husband, so now they were chatting away. I left them, you know, sitting there chatting away about Elvis, I think. So the power of music, you know, wonderful, wonderful. And then as I was leaving, I met this woman. This woman came up to me who was very officious. She was very, very smartly dressed, and very confident, very bright, and I liked her immediately. She had that kind of energy, that positive energy. She started talking about the songs. She talked about Dick Turpin. She talked about you know, the Titanic, and she talked about the content of my songs, and I asked her what she did and what she was doing there, and she told me she was an inspector of institutions, and all sorts of institutions, it seemed, but including care homes, I guess hospitals, school, you know, places set up to care or educate people and so on. And she wasn't specific about it, but this was her work, and she worked for the government, and so we had this great conversation. She was actually the kind of person I would love to have gone, if I'd had the time, perhaps go and chat with her some more, and you know, go and sit down, have a cup of tea, and talk more. But I didn't, and I had to leave. And as I left, I thought she would leave with me, but she didn't. She left she went into the building as I was going out, and I said to the nurse, "What was that?" You know, she was great. What was that about? Why was she going in? I thought she was leaving, and she said, "Oh, she was leaving. She's going back to her room." And I said, "Oh, so she's a tenant here?" And she said, "Yeah, she's. In fact, everything she told you was true 10 years ago. All of that applied 10 years ago. That was what she did. That was her employment. That was her life that she's just described to you, and very lucidly described to me." And that kind of had a big effect on me. You know, I thought, well, that's extraordinary. That she said, the nurse said, she won't remember you in 5 minutes. I'll go and talk to her, and she might vaguely remember the concert, but she won't remember having spoken to you about all those things, because she doesn't remember them. It's certain things bring them up, and you know, it just made me think about the cruelty of this condition, and how you can have all of those memories and all those thoughts inside you and yet not be able to express them at will, or not be able to function normally, you know, in spite of all that mental emotional energy that they must carry or must hold within you. And she told me the story, the nurse told me the story about how when Margaret was admitted to the hospital, she would always go for an evening walk, and at the beginning of her tenancy, she would go 5-6 o'clock before tea or after tea or something. She would go off and walk around the grounds, and as time went on, she began to get forgetful and began to lose her way, and they would say, "Oh, there's Margaret, well, she's gone on a walk, but where is she? You know, we don't know where she is." And she'd wandered off, she'd got lost and could be wandering into town or something. So they came up with this solution, which was to count Margaret's footsteps, and so she would go off and they'd count her out of the room. And you know, whether they counted her all the time, I don't know, but she had a route worked out, and Margaret could hear them counting. Somebody in the building would be counting Margaret's footsteps, and so she would go on a walk, and then she would hear the voices, and she would follow the voices, and this would lead her back to her room after her walk. I presume the walks became severely curtailed because of this, but nevertheless, she still got her independence and her, ability to go and off on her own and have her walk. So that's where the idea of the song "Counting My Footsteps" came from, and this is it. Hi, program announcement. The video I just did of Counting My Footsteps hasn't really worked out. Dog sat on tape, cat chewed video, leaves on the track. This is my oral doctor's note to say that we won't be using that version, but we have found a lovely version. In fact, the first recording I did of this song from Sidmouth Cricket Club, the roof of Sidmouth Cricket Club, in fact, so you can hear the slap of leather on willow as you listen to the song. So I hope you enjoy this instead. Waiting in line for the rain, gathering pieces of blue, frightened of cars, and there's too many stars, and I'm counting my footsteps too. Somebody love me, okay? I'm searching my mind to find who. So send me to bed if I lied when I said I'll always remember you. Mary, I don't know my age anymore. My mother said
I'm 104. Listen to me, leave me alone. Mary, I can't find my way back home. Everything's in the wrong place. Everything's broken in two. I'll start the repair when I find out just where, and I'm counting my footsteps to you. This place is just like a hotel or a prison, I'm not really sure. For my postal address, try just sleeping, I guess, or weeping behind any door. Mary, I'm lost and there's enemies near, speaking in voices I don't want to hear. Listen to me, leave me alone. Mary, I can't find my way back home. Loved ones and friends come and go, like the sun and the moon fade from view. I pray that sun sets and I never forget, I'm counting my footsteps too. I've come here from so far away, and my poor brain is broken in two. The scent of your hair sometimes hangs in the air, and I'm counting my footsteps to you.
Hi, welcome to the Sunday Jukebox, where I'm playing songs, well, partly at least requested by the Dulwich Folk Club, because that's where I should be tonight and where you should be too, but unfortunately that's not possible. So this request goes to Peter Grieg, who I believe was responsible for booking me at this virtual gig, or at least putting my name forward. And it's an old song that I'm presuming Peter saw the Panic Brothers. I'm sure he did. It's a song that I recorded with the Panic Brothers in the Red album, our one and only 10-inch album, and it's called, well, I call it Prayer, but it's the full title is I've Forgotten What It Is I Was Drinking to Forget. And I actually wrote this song when I was in a bit of a sort of country sort of mode, and I was listening to a lot of country stuff. And I've always been a big fan of Dean Martin, not the not the archetypal country singer, but a crooner and a great. I always thought a great singer, and one of those kind of charming, clever, talented people who could probably turn his hand to anything. I don't know if he played instruments as well, but he probably did. I'd like to think he did. He certainly sang beautifully, and I actually wrote this song because I was thinking I would send it to him. He was alive at the time, and I thought I'd send it to him and see if he'd record it. And I did actually send it, but I don't. Well, nothing ever happened as far as I know. So you can hear the recorded version on the Panic Brothers in the album in the Red, which I believe you can probably get online still. So anyway, this is what it sounds like now, 30 odd years later.
and I see the sun come up inside another empty bottle of booze. And I'm lying on the top of the bed in my jacket and shoes. Just say a prayer, hasn't beaten me yet, 'cause I've forgotten what it is that I was drinking to forget. I go to sleep at parties and I wake up when everyone's gone. I've been talking to myself ever since the day I was born. I just say a prayer, it hasn't beaten me yet, 'cause I've forgotten what it is that I was drinking to forget. Well, it wasn't necessarily my ambition to sell myself conviction so cheap. It was just a temporary condition. But one look at my face and they found me a place at the bottom of the heap. The council pay the rent and every now and then they pay for the drinks. Hell or heaven sent, I don't care what anybody else thinks. I just say a prayer, it hasn't beaten me yet, 'cause I've forgotten what it is that I was drinking to forget. I just say a prayer, it hasn't beaten me yet, 'cause I've forgotten what it is that I was drinking to forget. One for Dean and Peter. Hi, this next song is another song requested by Dulwich Folk Club, where I should be playing this very evening, but instead I'm down here in my shed or chalet in Somerset, overlooking the lovely green valley beyond, which you can't see, but you can see the mess behind. Anyway, this song was requested by Jackie of Dulwich Folk Club, and it's a song called Crossbones Graveyard, which I believe is very close to where she works, and it's a site in London, in Southwark, south of the river, that was unearthed a few years ago, where they discovered a massive graveyard, 15,000, or they believe there's 15,000 bodies buried in this small area, and a group have got together and got control of the site from London Transport, I believe, own it, but they're under threat, and London Transport want it back, and they want to build on it. So I don't know how long they've got, but it's worth looking into, the Crossbones Graveyard. And interestingly, they discovered that most of the bodies that they'd unearthed were the bodies of young women, in many cases pregnant women, and they've linked this to the deaths of lots of prostitutes who were unable, because of the poor law, to claim against their clients, the wealthy men who made them pregnant, turns out, because of the law, had no responsibility for the children or that they'd sired, and so many of these women died of poverty, disease, hunger. Who knows? But another interesting fact is that they were known as the Winchester geese, and this was because the Bishop of Winchester, who was oversaw the kind of the church in the area, charged the girls to be prostitutes, which I thought was extraordinary. They'd worked out a plan whereby they could legalise prostitution if the women paid to the church. I don't think I need to say any more about that really, but look into it. It's an interesting story, and do go and visit it. I think they need everybody's support to try and maintain this tribute site to these poor people. 15,000 souls, a ribbon for everyone, never saw the light of a good day's sun. South of the River Thames, the unborn and the young lie cradled in the arms of the unwanted and unsung. Think you've got it hard, you cry you've been done wrong, then linger here a while and you'll sing a different song. Licensed by the church to sell her body to disease, exploited to the end her soul, the devil's work to ease. Down in the crossbones, down in the crossbones, down in the crossbones graveyard. Compassion came too late, but still compassion came, with tributes and with vigils, the out-death Costed reclaimed. 200 years of grief, years of London shame, let their promise be so those days never come again. Down in the crossbones, down in the crossbones, down in the crossbones graveyard. By prayers they'll be remembered, by herbs and flowers restored, and strangers breathe their sorrow in every heartfelt word. The priest anoints with water in a ritual of regret, and the goose will beat her wings again, and we will not forget. Down in the crossbones, down in the crossbones, down in the crossbones graveyard. Down in the crossbones, down in the crossbones, down in the crossbones graveyard. And this one was requested by Olive of Dulwich. Not all the requests are for people from the club, or those of you who've sent requests in. Hopefully I can get your requests, your songs out as well, from my Facebook page. Now this song, it's called We Looked Away. It's from my last album, Raw, which I should be on the road promoting now, but I'm not. I'm promoting it from the comfort of my own shed. And I guess it speaks for itself really. We looked away. It's not really a finger pointing song, it's just I think it's kind of the way of things that and it's happening now, you know, that what we're doing, what's going on in the world at the moment, is diverting us from other important issues. You know, nobody's talking about the ice caps melting, or the whales dying, or we're all saying how great the NHS is, but nobody's talking about the fact it's being sold wholesale to the Americans, and you know, the dismantling of organisations like that. You know, the fact that the bankers have just got themselves a massive, great big rise thanks to our government, whereas the nurses haven't. you know, put your money where your mouth is, I say. But anyway, let's not get into that. Let's just let the song kind of give you an idea of where I stand. It actually came from the opening lines. I'm going to tell you this because I'm presuming you'll be interested in this, but if you're not, you can always skip forward and listen to the song. But it comes from a visit I made years ago when I was in the Panic Brothers, and we played the Munich Science Fiction Festival, and on the day off I went to Dachau, and I was astonished at this leafy little country town, you know, with its kind of I guess it was like a chicken farm or something. I'm not sure what it was originally, but I remember being driven through up to the site and thinking that you know, back in the day during the war, thousands of people would have been driven in on trucks, and those trucks would have left empty, and this would have gone on for a long time. So if you lived in one of these leafy little houses, you know, in one of these pretty little houses, you would have seen these trucks as a daily occurrence, and it really came from that, you know, that, you know, and I suppose now the issue for me anyway, well, for a lot of people I guess, but what occurs to me at the moment is that you know, today, well, yesterday, the 4th of July, pubs are opening again, you know, and people are celebrating this and can't wait to get out there and you know, get in amongst other people again, you know, this need for social interaction, and regardless of the fact that we are still deep in the throes of a pandemic, you know, and you saw those pictures of Bognor beach the other day, and hordes of people congregating, touching each other, you know, 2 meters, forget it, you know, and the government saying 2 meters, or if you can't, then 1 meter, you know, please, just treating us like idiots and people behaving like idiots, and you know, that sort of attitude, because they say it's okay, then it's okay, you know, well, let's do it, let's go and do it, let's go and, you know, lie and get drunk and lie in a big pile and celebrate the 4th of July. And you know, regardless of the common sense that tells you, no, don't do that, you know, be careful, look after yourself and look after each other's, you know, look after the earth, and it will look after you, look after the planet, and it will take care of you, look after other people, you know, have respect. When the leaves were softly changing, the constant engines rolled, the ancient air was rich with summer turning. While the war was far off raging, we were safe behind these trees, and nothing changed but something distant burning. There was talk and there were rumours, those who never came back home, troops on the streets and cries behind the curtains, those unsafe by their religion or the colour of their skin. Yes, we heard the news, but how could we be certain? No, we never asked the questions, we were busy with our day. We looked away, we looked away. His eyes were bright with promise, and they shone with his great gift, and a nation swore allegiance to his mission. And his words rang like church bells, calling all lost souls to join, to praise and to rejoice in his great vision. While the rivers turned to crimson, we were busy with our day. We looked away, we looked away. In the north the ice is melting, and the oceans fade to grey, and the whales cry for the dying of their nation. And the earth is stripped and wasted, greed and progress have their way, and it sickens more with each new generation. Roll the blinds and draw the curtains, we are busy with our day. We looked away, we looked away. Come the hour of your judgment, will you take the stand and say, I looked away, I looked away, I looked away, we looked away. This song was requested by Adrian. It's a song called Dragonfly, and Adrian, in his request on Facebook, said, I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't agree with me. I think he said it's my favourite song of Regis, and I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't agree with me. And I'm just kind of wondering what makes you so sure, Adrian, they wouldn't agree with you. But anyway, I'll do it anyway, and I'm glad it's your favourite song. It's I suppose it's kind of my 9/11 song, or my also my July 7th, the London bombings. I can't remember the dates. Anyway, I wrote this after 9/11. I kind of didn't feel I could write a song about that. I felt too removed from it, apart from the sort of tragedy of it, I suppose. And there was no specific story I felt I could tell, and you know, everybody was very aware of the drama and the terrible events that happened, and so I just somehow just didn't feel comfortable about writing about it. And then the July bombings happened in London, and I felt kind of closer to those in a way. I thought, well, that could have, you know, it could have been possibly been me. I could have been involved in that, or friends or loved ones could have been involved in that. But still, I couldn't. I didn't have anything specific to say about it, you know, apart from, you know, joining the chorus and being horrified that could happen, and people could do that to other people. And then a few years later, I was doing a concert. I was doing a launch of an album. I can't remember which one it was, down down in Somerset, where I live. And a friend of mine who's been a big supporter throughout my career, pretty much. She was working as a translator. She's Egyptian, and she speaks Egyptian. I don't know if she's actually Egyptian parents possibly, and she was working as a translator to High Command in Basra, and so she spoke the language, and she wanted to come to the concert, but she suddenly messaged me to say that they wouldn't let her out of the country to come, and this was a direct result of the terrorism that was occurring, and the threats to the flights and so on, and so she was forbidden to come. And then suddenly I thought I kind of had a reason, you know, that was you know, obviously not in such a tragic way, but that situation having a direct impact on me and on our friendship and so on. And so that was kind of my way into the song. And it also it coincided with another event in my life, and when I lost a friend, and I was standing in my garden, not far from where I'm sitting now, and I saw this dragonfly out by the pond. I've got a pond there, and I was watching the dragonfly, and suddenly it flew in to the kitchen dining room area where I was standing, this kind of long extension, and I was standing at the far end of the extension. The dragonfly flew all the way in and kind of hovered, and I held out my hand and it landed on my hand, and I thought there was something kind of almost I don't know, something very sort of symbolic about this, about my friend dying, who was a big fan of dragonflies. She loved dragonflies, and in fact we'd even bought her a dragonfly vase, not while she was ill, and I still have that vase, and this dragonfly came and sat with me, and it didn't move, and it was just kind of staring at me, and so I took it back out to the pond, and I put it down, and it stayed there all day long. And somebody later told me that the dragonfly was just letting me know that this was its territory, and you know, regardless of the fact that I was several thousand times bigger than it, it was still going to take me on if necessary. And anyway, all of this kind of all of this conspired to create this song in a way, and of course the performance wouldn't be complete without the t-shirt, their dragonfly t-shirt, hot off the press, folks, brand new. Get yours from the website, all sizes, a range of colours, grey, red, etc. This is an extra large, so you can get any size you like, and you can get the sleeves if you like. I think you also get hoodies if you're that way inclined. So I don't want to spoil the effect here, so I'm going to do something I've never done before, and I'm going to do this song a cappella. Silver wings from the blue, crash and burn, cut in two, free to fly foreign shores, free to die for your cause, born in grief, raised in chains, blind belief, fear no pain, learn to fight, learn to hate. Life is war, death is great. The world is your enemy, God is your king. And if it's his will, you'll destroy everything. You show no mercy for innocence, pity nor shame. Sting, dragon, sting, dragonfly, dragonfly. Is your faith so correct? It requires no respect for the good and the pure, and the wrongs they endure. Those who live and let live, knowing life is to give, they've a right to belong. Ride the bus, sing their song. You crash into satellites, blood on your wings. You're jealous of sunlight and other gods' things. The sun shines for everyone, peace is a blessing you earn. Burn, dragon, burn. Dragonfly, Dragonfly, dragonfly. Hi, this next song is a request from Diana Cook, and it's a song called The Angel Maker, and a song about Amelia Dyer. Amelia Dyer, possibly the most prolific serial killer in history. All the happy songs here, folks. Party songs a go-go. And Amelia Dyer lived in Reading originally. She was known as the Ogress of Reading. It doesn't exactly roll off your tongue, does it? She was a baby farmer. She originally a nurse, and then began to baby farming was a thing back in the 1880s, 1890s, so on, mid to late 1800s, and people who couldn't keep their babies for some reason or other, often young women who'd had babies that the men wouldn't support, again owing to the poor laws, they would basically farm their babies, that they would give their babies to a baby farmer, and then this person was then charged with the duty of finding a place for this baby to live and to be brought up. But Amelia, fairly early on, started to lose babies, and eventually the police realised that she was not taking care of them, and I'm not sure what she was charged with, but I think a couple of babies died in her care of starvation and or neglect, and she was given 6 months hard labour. And then when she was released, she then took to baby farming with a vengeance. She would actually go out and look for babies and solicit people, to foster their children, and then basically she realised that obviously it was more profitable not to keep the child alive and not to have to sustain the child, but just take the money. And although she was eventually charged and hanged in 1896 for the death of 6 children, they believe that it's quite possible she killed between 200 and 400 children in her care, which if that were the case, I don't know how they came to these figures, but if that were the case, then obviously she is the most prolific serial killer in history. So this is a song. It's called Angel Maker. There's a knock at the door, Mother Dyer. It's a girl with a child in a shawl. Oh, show the poor soul in, my dear Marianne. Don't leave her to freeze in the hole. I pray you'll be kind, Mother Dyer, for this soul never asked to be born. Oh, I'll be more than kind, his frail cries I will bind, and he'll laugh with the angels adorn. Angel Maker, did you wrap them up warm? Angel Maker. These girls have no choice, Mother Dyer, while the laws of the men hold them sway. These girls have no choice, since they've taken their voice and and stolen their children away. This baby needs food, mother dire, but the quietness makes her so slow. In the still of the night, one more angel takes flight, where the motherless children must go. Angel maker, did you rock her to sleep? Angel maker, her bright dreams to keep. Angel maker, was it 400 times, mother dire, that you robbed the poor child of his bread? Did you cry in your sleep for the women who weep? For you shed not a tear at their death. You're the weapon of chance, mother dire, for the crime of a nation's neglect. Through the hospital doors to the deep haven gorge, a young mother goes to be next. Angel maker, does he haunt you at night? Angel maker, did you rock her to sleep? Angel maker, her bright dreams to keep. Angel maker, did you wrap them up warm? Angel maker, to keep them from harm. Angel maker, angel maker. Hi, welcome to my virtual Dulwich Folk Club gig. This, as you can see, I'm not in Dulwich. I'm actually in my shed in Somerset. And this song has been requested by John H is all I have here. And it's a song called Shoreline and the Sea. And it's a song, look, I've decided to keep the Dragonfly t-shirt on just in case you wanted to have another look. Available at on the website. And comfortable too. Cool. Just right for playing in your shed with the doors open to the garden. And Shoreline and the Sea, the not much of a story to this really. It just came from, that's a flight of geese. Something a friend said to me once, and they were in a relationship, had been for a few years, a couple of years at least, and she said they were thinking of moving in together. And I thought, well, that's good. That's a good idea, and with the possibility of getting married, and then dropped the bombshell that he had never told her he loved her. And I thought, tricky, you know, what to say, what kind of advice to give there. So I felt it better to give none at all, and I wrote a song instead. And this is it. It's Shoreline and the Sea. If you love me, let me know. Don't just close the door and go. If you shed a tear for me, turn your face and let me see. I want to hold you oh so much. I need love that I can touch, love that will wash over me like the shoreline and the sea. I knew a man who lived alone. I met him by my fireside. He stared into the flame and moaned. I can't recall when last I cried. I used to have a lover once. She used to come and go with me. We were happy in the dance, like the shoreline and the sea. I'm not asking for the moon, its light is all I need. And I'm not asking for the sun, just let it shine on me. I met a girl, her heart was broken. She poured it out to show to me. Her hands were warm, her lips were cold. She sat all day and watched the sea. Oh, save me from a fate so cruel. Speak your mind, be straight with me. Love be constant, love be true, like the shoreline and the sea. Like the shoreline and the sea. Life's too short for not telling somebody you love them. This is the final song in my Dulwich Folk Club special, Dulwich Folk Club Dragonfly t-shirt special. You'll see, first time out. Nice, get yours, website now, all sizes, colours, etc. and designs. So look, thanks to all the folks at Dulwich Folk Club. Thanks to Peter Grieg and Jackie for organising. I presume they did. Also, I've got some other people to thank here. Amy Leonard at Dulwich Folk Choir for keeping all sane. This is Peter's words. And all the staff at the Lordship Pub. Keep your distance, wash your hands. That's from me. Have a safe time of it, and be responsible and kind, is all I can say. So have a great time, and thank you for inviting me to your Dulwich virtual folk club special, and hopefully sometime soon I'll be able to come out there and have a drink with you folks for real. So I'll finish up with this song which Peter has suggested, and it's very current. It's my lockdown song. It's called Shine On. When all the world is staying home, the only voice is on the phone, and the TV and the radio just scream. And the city lords are making laws to keep us all behind closed doors, slowly real life turns into a dream. And it isn't yours and it isn't mine. You're looking for a place to shine and glow. Shine on like a pearl inside a shell. Shine on like a lily in a well. Shine on when the city lights are gone. Shine on. When the whole world's sick with the same disease, nations fall down to their knees. Time is running out to find a cure. That's when you hear the earth breathe out, nature's forces thrown in doubt, flow down in the rivers strong and pure. And the ocean beats the shore in time, while overhead the sun still shines and glows. Shine on like a song of Italy. Shine on like a lighthouse on the sea. Shine on when the city lights are gone. Shine on. Shine on. All around the people fell, the doctors came to make them well. Soon they saw the grave mistake they'd made. While they saw to it, the stars and moon were only dancing to their tune. They'd failed to see the piper wasn't paid. Shine on like a diamond in the mine. Shine on like the spirit of mankind. Shine on when the city lights are gone. Shine on. Shine on. So help the fragile and the weak, the lonely too afraid to speak. Help the ones who don't know what to do. Be responsible and kind. Use your sense, use your mind, and use your light to guide them safely through. And leave the angels to their rounds. See, they have the masks and gowns. When at last the cure is found, they'll know. Shine on like a pearl inside a shell. Shine on like a lily in a well. Shine on like the song of Italy. Shine on like a lighthouse on the sea. Shine on like a diamond in the mine. Shine on like the spirit of mankind. Shine on. 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 Take care. See you soon. When all the world is staying home, the only voice is on the phone, and the TV and the radio